Yeah, that's fine. We all know that this housing crisis is as a result of the rising population. The number of people on the waiting list in Greenwich alone is ridiculous. It's thousands, and in my opinion, I think to meet that demand, the council need to be able to build council houses. Now, Anthony mentioned earlier that there's a cap. Yes, the government, the Conservative government, has put a cap on borrowing, which means that the council is not able to use its housing stock as collateral to borrow. Therefore, the council cannot build, and the council rely heavily on developers to build for them. But these developers, they're profit-making companies, and they're looking for high returns, so affordable is not affordable. And as a result of this, in the last 10 years, I think the housing, 20 years, it's gone up by 400%, and our salary has increased by 150%.
Right, thank you.
Yes, well, I think I'm on the housing register, you know. I'm one of those people waiting for housing, and I still live with my family, my mum in the front, and I can't afford to buy myself a property or rent. It is quite expensive. We need to build more houses, and to do that, the cap needs to be removed. I also believe that we need a new definition for what affordability is, and recently, this week, Jeremy Corbyn published what his views on what affordability are and how it needs to be linked to people's incomes, and I think that's something we definitely need to explore. I also believe buy to rent is really harming us. Buy to gosh, my name. Buy the right to buy. I do apologize. The right to buy is really harming us. You know, once you're in a property for 5 years, you have that opportunity to buy, and we're losing stock because of that. So I think we need to focus on how maybe we can use the build to rent sector to provide housing, and I think that's something that can be explored. If you want to talk to me more about that, we can follow up.
Thank you. So I spent about 30 years of my life living with my mum in her house. I was going to afford to rent in London or buy my own place in London until more recently when I shared ownership. Similar story to everybody else. You know, it's live with your parents because otherwise, when you're young, things aren't affordable. We have got hands tied behind our backs by central government about you can't build this, you can't spend your revenues on what we need, and we need to try and push to get those things changed where we can. But in the meantime, well, we have got the governments being built, and the rules say 35% should be affordable, accessible, and we're not enforcing that, so the rules are changing. We need to look at why that is, and enforce those rules and make sure as much as possible is accessible.
Okay, David.
Thank you very much. This is the heart, at least, of my caseload as a councillor, and it's a huge amount. And you hear some tragic stories, and you see some appalling conditions and overcrowding. So there are a number of things that we can do. So Meridian Home Start, which was set up by the council, but is done in such a way you can't have the right to buy. So that is building about 5 new estates across the borough, not locally here, but nearby. Then we can build some council housing, just a little like we've done with Mabel Polly House, but if the cap is removed, the prudential borrowing cap, we can build a lot more. Most importantly, we are committed to consult on increasing the threshold in new developments from 35% affordable, of which 70% is social, to 50% affordable, of which 70% is social. That's 35%. So that would be a lot more. We've got to consult on that. We need to go through the process, but then we also need the government to change the legislation to get rid of this sort of presumption within the viability statements that every developer has to produce, that each developer makes a 20% profit. We have to challenge that, because Barclays are the most profitable building company in Britain. A lot of that is on the back of the huge developments they've done in the Royal Arsenal and Kinbrook in Greenwich.
Thank you.